This rule right here, yes, the 50-30-20 rule will keep you broke. Let me explain. Unless you've been living under a rock, I'm pretty sure that you heard of the 50-20 rule before. But if you haven't, let me explain it to you real quick. So I have my boy with me. So as you can see, 50% goes on your needs. So this is your bills, your groceries, your utilities, etc. Whatever you really need, 50% of your income goes towards your needs. Now 30% goes towards your wants. So this means shopping, eating out, hobbies, just buying extra things like accessories, shoes, clothes, just going towards your wants, right? And then 20% goes towards your savings. So you're just saving 20% of your income. So let me actually give you guys a real example of this. So let's say you make $1,000, right? I have $1,000, and if we use the 50-20-30 rule, $500, let me pull out $500. $500 right here goes towards your needs, right? And then $300 goes towards your wants. And then $200 goes towards your savings. So that's basically the 50-30-20 rule for you. 50% goes towards your needs, 30% goes towards your wants, and 20% goes to savings. Now let me explain some of the pros and cons to this, because there's a good and bad with everything. You know that's life. There's a good and bad with everything. So let me get into the pros first. So one of the pros to this is that you're actually saving a pretty decent amount of money. So you're saving 20% of your income, which most people don't do. Most people do not save 20% of their income, right? So if you're using the 50-30-20 rule, you're saving 20% of your income, which is a good thing. You know, saving money is always a good thing. You can set up your emergency fund and everything like that so that you're secure. Now, another pro to this is that you living your best life, man. You living your best life. If 30% of your money is going towards wants, like your hobbies, eating out, shopping, hey, you living your best life. I'm telling you, you living your best life. That's $300. Let's say you make $1,000 a week. That's $300 a week going towards just, you know, living your best life. So that's another pro to that. So if you like a free spirit and you just want to live your best life, hey, that might be for you. Now the third pro to this is that it actually helps you budget your money. Now most people do not have a budget at all for their money. So even if you do implement the 50-30-20 rule, at least you're a step ahead of the game from everybody else, because everybody else really doesn't have a budget. Like if you look at most Americans or most people in the world in general, they do not have a budget. So if you're using a budget of any kind, you're ahead of the game. Now let's get into the cons of the 50-30-20 rule now. Now one of the biggest ones that I see with this 50-30-20 rule is that nowhere on this budget does it say investments. So you're not investing any of your money. You're saving 20%, you're spending 30%, and then 50% goes on your needs, right? So where in here does it talk about investments? And as you guys know, in order to build generational wealth, in order to get wealthy, you have to be investing. You have to be. There's just no way you're gonna save $1 million, right? There's no way you're gonna save $1 million unless you just, I don't know, you gotta be investing though. You have to be investing. That's one of the keys to building wealth, investing. So on this budget, it needs a spot for investing. You definitely have to have a spot for investing, especially if you're spending 30% on your wants. You have to have a spot for investments. Like you could take 10% of your money and invest in stocks, real estate, in your own business. You gotta have some type of investment so that your money can work for you. Now the second con that I see with this budget, right, is that you're spending more on your wants than your savings, right? So even if you don't have any investments, you're still spending more on your wants than your savings, right? So you thinking short term. So you just taking it day by day. You're not really thinking about your future like that, because like I said, you spending more on your wants than you're saving. That's really short-term gratification. And as you guys know, in order to build wealth, you got to be patient and you got to think long-term. You have to be able to delay gratification, right? So you have to be at least saving more than you're spending on your wants. So that's another big thing. You could either just change this to 30% and then 20%, and that'll be better, because then you're saving more than you're spending on just things that really don't make you any more money. They're just temporary pleasures. So as you can see, man, this rule right here, the 50-30-20 rule, is a bird, is a plane, is a motherfucking trap, man. It's a trap. It just keeps you broke. Now let me actually show you guys the rule that I prefer using myself. Alright, so here's my way of saving and budgeting my money, right? So it's the 50-30-15-5 rule, right? So this means 50% goes towards needs like my bills, utilities, groceries, all of the stuff that I actually need, right? And then I invest 30% of my money. Now the reason why this is so high, because I like to make my money work for me, right? So I want to be investing as much as I possibly can so that I can make as much return as possible. Because I say this all the time, money is a better employee than you anyway, because money doesn't need sleep, money doesn't take breaks, money doesn't get tired or anything like that. So you might as well make your money work for you. And like I said earlier in this video as well, hey, investing is how you get rich. Investing is how you build generational wealth. So that's why I invest 30% of my income. I save 15% of my income, and then I spend 5% on wants. So for me, this is shoes. Like, I'm a sneakerhead, man. I love shoes, clothes, eating out, and just things of that nature, right? Now this may be different for you though, because keep in mind, like, I know you might be thinking like 5% on wants. That's not a lot of money at all. You probably like not doing anything. You living like a monk. But you gotta realize, like, it depends on your income. So if I'm making $10,000 a month, 5% is $500 a month just on wants, right? So that's a pretty decent amount of money on wants. So you gotta think about your income, how much you're making a month, and then you could do like 10% on wants if you want. It really depends on how much you're making and how much you actually want to spend on your wants. So for me, I went with 5% because I make a pretty decent amount of money, and that's enough to cover my wants. But like I said, the main thing is 30% in investments, man. Invest a lot of your money, even if you take some of the savings down. Even if you save like 10%, make sure that you have an emergency fund set up. And then after that, you want to be investing more than you saving, and investing more than you're spending on your wants, man. Invest most of your money. That's how you actually generate wealth. That's how you escape the rat race. Investing in yourself, investing in your business. And I know this because I used to work a job myself. Like when I was 17 and 18, I was working at Macy's. I believe I haven't worked in about 2 years, man. It's been about 2 years since I had a job, right? And my last job was Macy's, right? So when I was working at Macy's, I had to pay my car note, car insurance, phone bill, but that was about it. And then the rest of the money, I took all of that money and then I invested in myself and in my business, right? So let's say I had $500, right? And $250 went towards my bills, and then that other $250 I went all in on investing in myself and in my business. So that's how I was able to escape the working a job life and the rat race, because I invested in myself and I invested in my business. So I remember it like it was yesterday, man. It's crazy to look back because some of the weeks I didn't even make any money. Like I would invest like $200 into the business, didn't make any money back, but the next week I was right back at it. Like I just always had that consistency. So that's why I'm so heavy on investing and just taking risks, because hey, that's really the key to getting ahead in life. But yeah, just remember my rule, you know, 50% on needs, 30% on investments, saving 15%, and then 5% on wants. But even if you don't want to go with mine, just remember to invest. No matter what you do, no matter what budget plan you have, just remember to not forget to invest your money. But that's all I have for today's video, man. If you enjoyed it, drop a like on the video, drop a comment down below any questions you have, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. And I'm out, bro. I'll see you guys in the next video.